parents were very strict. Where are you going with those skates? Wear your helmet. Are you doing that too? Are you jumping on those banisters?
Out. Out.
Can you please record that?
Oh, I did record it all.
Very good. Right, we're back.
Yep, hopefully this records properly. This is a new software platform for us. Bit different. We're in this regal establishment high in the Swiss Alps, recording from a studio.
I'm not in my shed.
No, and I'm not in my spare room.
Can you hear that noise?
Is that my kids?
No, in here, there's like a water pump in here because someone's turned on the shower inside our house.
No, I can't hear anything.
Okay, that's good. It'll turn off soon anyway. So,
Sweet.
so we thought that we would we haven't done this for a long time since who was last?
Me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I saw that. I saw the from that. But we haven't really done one, so I guess that's kind of the effect of XAIR sort of doing what Steve wanted it to. Like, it's kind of hyped us up to do another one of these.
Well, yeah, it certainly has hyped up the whole community, I think.
I mean, not that other people weren't still stayed and hyped on it, but you know, when you don't skate much like me, like personally, like you need something like that to kind of refresh it, I guess.
Well, you wound up in the XAIR blading recap packet for the television footage.
For that, and guess what trick I did?
The background.
Yeah. It was sick. It was so good. It was one of the average ones too, but we're not really here to talk about me. Apart from thanks to the judges, because without them it couldn't have happened. Obviously,
it was all about the judges.
Even though they put us miles up in the stands, like away from everyone, which was so impersonal.
Well, I think they needed that separation so you didn't get heckled from the crowd.
Yeah. So just. I don't know. Are we allowed to be candid about what was said? Because we kind of got told that we had a run how to use the live feeds program, which, by the way, was really good. I thought that was cool how they used a proper system. So, but because the inline was a different format, there were some issues with how it would run and how the system had to operate, and the way we had to put our scores in, but. They actually told us, that was the explanation for the distance, was if anyone heckles you, you might have to put up with some of that because people might be disgruntled about what happens. And we're like, do you even know us? None of these guys are going to give two shits, really.
No, I think that when I go back and watch the heats, like Calvin's put heat videos up, and I've gone back and looked at the finals, you guys got it pretty close to bang on, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I guess me and Grant and Scott and Grant and me kind of, I don't know if we judge the same, but we sort of work pretty well together, I guess.
Yeah, I think you guys see different things.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite good. I think you need some variation within judges. It's kind of doesn't quite work if everyone's seeing the same things and judging things the same way.
Yeah, that's right. So that side of it was good, although a little bit weird sitting way away from everyone when any other, you're like either standing up on a quarter pipe or, down closer to where things are happening. So it was all good.
You did judge your, like when I look at the finals and going into that super final, you had those scores pumped out pretty quick.
Yeah, well, they got, again, not pointing the finger at anyone, but there was some pressure to get moved along, you know, because other things were happening on the day. But
I think that's also the pressure of a TV broadcast as well, which is different for everyone.
Yeah, that's true. But all in all, I think it's pretty well. I was always saying that it should have been longer on the course, but I suppose it was actually a pretty good amount of time in the end.
Yeah, I think going through and watching the broadcast, I think the camera guys certainly struggled with a jam session format. They didn't know who to follow.
Yeah.
So it's quite hard to watch it because you never actually see the completion of a single trick. Like it cuts so much.
And I'm not defending them, but I guess it would have been hard because what do they know about it? You know, like they don't.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It would have been good to have someone either in the truck who knew what was worth watching, or like someone that could have helped facilitate that. But look, that's ultimately we were the only sport that had a different format to all the others. The others were easy. The guys on the floor did a fantastic job considering.
Yeah, it would be. I don't know. Again, I don't know who's going to watch this out of the blading community, but the camera guys were talking to some of the people. I did see them pull Zach aside and ask him something. And I didn't ask him what they were saying, but it'd be interesting if people could comment and tell us, because I think they spoke to I think that's
Michael Farr.
They spoke to Mike, they spoke to Dan, and I think they spoke to Zach. That's all I saw anyway.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if they were saying, you know, like, tell me where you're going, or tell me when you're going to do a backflip so that I can film. That kind of be interesting to know.
It would have been more about tell me when you're doing a Barani.
Yeah, looking for the Barani or the invert.
Yeah. If you're not doing a Barani or handstand, they don't want to know.
Yeah, I think Matt did did Matt do an invert or some kind of?
No, I know Mickey does a misty flip that's quite laid up, similar to a Barani.
Yeah, nearly Barani-ish.
Yeah. Tim would call it a Barani.
Yeah, I don't know how many people would know what a Barani is.
It's a no-handed cartwheel.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain it, actually. I could only ever do trampolines, so.
Do you know what's weird in this recording so far is you actually look tanner than me because of the brightness of my house.
But also this shed's lined with like a kind of a golden plywood, so that'll be helping. Yeah,
so you look real tan. I'm real disappointed in myself.
Yeah, it's called the Baywatch filter.
Yeah.
So anyway, first of all, thanks to you, because you did a lot of work. And not only did you do stuff for the inline, like you did a lot of stuff for the scootering as well. A part-time free gig looking after scootering in the country. Yeah, which, like, again, I had to talk about that, but that went pretty well. But you had a lot on your plate, and then it seemed like you got sucked into doing like other stuff on the day that you weren't expecting. So, good job. Thanks, man. Yeah,
it was certainly interesting. Like, I know during the scootering, like having to be on the floor with the microphone and listening to the TV guys and juggle where riders were and listen to the TV instructions, then the instructions from the commentator was quite hard work. Sometimes they were opposing positions. So trying not to look like a dick, get the guys to look at the right camera was super interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of choreography going on.
Oh yeah, having the old mic and hearing what's going on in the production booth, I guess, is so cool, so interesting. Like the way those guys work, they go like so rapid fire. It's like they're in a bloody kitchen.
Yeah. Did you drink any Monster on the day?
Oh, too many. I felt really sick afterwards. Because I had like probably two a day, maybe. Did you?
I tried one. They're so sweet. Oh, well, actually, I might have ended up drinking a whole one almost, but it was
shit.
Yeah, like I never drink that stuff, and it's just like sugar to me. So, Steve and Nicole and all the crew, Bucky especially. Bucky
really impressed me with his knowledge of rollerblading. Like when you listen to his floor commentary, Like you hear it in the kind of the heats that Calvin's posted, or you hear it at a section of the final. Like he knows what he's talking about, which I'm quite impressed by for a roller skater with a mullet. Like he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
And Bucky actually deserves a massive amount of thanks as well. Like he kind of structured a lot of the schedule so rollerblading would get an element of TV coverage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So big shout out to my mate Bucky.
Yeah, that was cool. Like, and I'm not pointing like out bad points or anything, but I thought it would have been cool if they had a different commentator for each sport. But I understand why it couldn't work like that. But you know, if for argument's sake, we did have like Ben doing the blading, and then someone from skating doing the skateboarding from blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Kind of might have made it a little bit more bespoke or personal for that sport.
I think they kind of had an element of that because they had George there, who's a skateboarder who runs a skate school. He was the Māori boy that was he was rapping Scribe on the first day.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had Levi up in the booth.
Yeah.
With Ed Lee for the skate final. And then because it was TV focused on the Saturday, they ended up having the TV commentary broadcast played through the auditorium. So I think that was a hard part, is the mics were off, so you couldn't hear the crowd guys or the hype guys, and you could just hear Levi up in the booth.
Yeah.
During skateboarding, which I remember you saying. And then Willie commentated scootering in the booth.
Yeah.
And BMX. But certainly to me the standout, the Brooke Smith of the new generation is certainly Bucky.
Yeah. And I guess he has to be a little bit because he knows the most about it, and he's available, I guess. Like, it's pretty hard to get out of Reparoa much.
Well, Bucky actually knows a lot about all sports. He's actually on the technical commission for World Skate for scootering. Plus, he commentates BMX competitions down there in the Hawke's Bay, skateboarding competitions, and he's actually commentated like the pump track world champs as well. So name it, that man's commentated it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah,
I think he did a good job. It was just weird sitting in the stands because it would go to these huge long periods of nothing being said because they were obviously doing the TV feed. But even the people who were sitting in the stands around us during the skateboarding were like, "Why isn't anyone saying anything?"
Yeah.
Like, people were skating the course and no one had even known why they were dropping in. It was like, this is part of their run, but no one had said anything.
I found that really bizarre too, because skateboarders during people's runs, or after, as soon as they're finished, they'll drop in and have a practice.
Yeah, well, I liked that. That was kind of, me and Scotty were saying, if you remember what it was like at Oriental Markets or at some of the old skate nats, or even actually some of the XAIRs, like as soon as someone's run was over, everyone would flood the course in and try and get another practice hit in.
Yeah, true. I kind of forgot a bit of that.
Yeah. So anyway, didn't change the feel of the place, but So yeah, I guess how did everyone feel the structure went for the blading? Like, the jam format seemed to work pretty well.
Well, I to be honest, I haven't spoken to too many people about it after the event, post-event. Everyone seemed to enjoy it. Some of the videos have been pretty funny. Like, I put up a clip on my Insta today on my story of, I think Mickey, Michael Farr, and Meat collided.
Yeah.
And then straight after that, Teagles was on the floor because he fell over. And then Leo put up a clip where him and someone else collided, and it just looks like Mickey's collided with everyone in the venue.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good crash.
The old roller derby body checks going on out in the park.
Yeah. We couldn't see Sax crash from where we were sitting and up in the stands because he fell down the front of the quarter pipe where we couldn't see.
Where a bit was that the G-Shock quarter pipe?
Yeah, when he did his knee.
He told me what he was planning to do because he did wall ride True Top Acid over that kind of channel by the start box, and he was planning to wall ride Elliot Fish, like true Elliot Fish, which would have been so sick.
It was actually it felt like a big jump to me out of that wedge up onto that quarter pipe. So
Yeah.
doing something simple. So to try that on it's pretty sack, I guess.
Yeah, I'm kind of gutted he didn't get to ride the final.
Yeah, but he was out there, gave it a go.
Well, he's torn his MCL completely and might require surgery, and it was his birthday on Tuesday.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So happy 41st birthday to Isaac.
41.
I think he's 41.
Yeah, I always felt like he was way younger than us, but yeah.
Not really. Well, maybe because we were like 17 at the time, and he would have been 13.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought it went pretty well. It wouldn't have worked having runs for us, so I guess I think that they'll try and keep it the same.
Well, yeah, I'm interested because I wonder whether runs wouldn't work for us because of the inconsistency. Like it takes a few hits to get some skating tricks. Like when I think of what the guys were doing over the sub box, they required a couple of hits to get that shit.
Yeah, but that's just a comment on the current level of skating, really, isn't it? Because previously we had runs.
Well, I think of probably the only two people, and no disrespect to anyone else, that I could see doing a run would probably be Matt Marsh, because he does runs anyway, and probably Dan Robinson, because he cruised around the course with runs. Like everything he did, he kind of linked together anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I might disagree with you a bit because I think that through the practices and through everything, I did see people, like not the majority of people, but more people than you've just described, hitting more than one. I think if people knew that they had to do a run, they would have spent, and maybe it's tied to having more time on the course, because I always said that we needed it, but maybe it's tied to the fact that if they had to do a run, they would have figured that out and put it together.
True. Okay.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. Like, it still went well, and maybe people were more comfortable anyway doing a jam.
Well, it was actually really interesting. Even I look at Michael Farr. Dan Robinson said something about how instead of when we were debating whether you put your hand up for switch tricks, you do switch, you do natural. So if you watch Michael's entire jam sessions, final or otherwise, he's doing everything both ways, one after the other, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. He was
so that certainly stuck with him.
Yeah. Rather than waving the hand.
Yeah, the old look, it's switch.
Yeah.
Who was a standout for you? Well, not a standout, but who surprised you? Like someone you've already seen skate a lot in New Zealand. Who surprised you on that course? Like did shit you didn't expect them to do?
I don't know if anyone really surprised me. Like I think I expected that from everyone. I guess I would say that Johnny did, but only because he's been away and we haven't seen him for so long. But he just kind of slots back in and skates how he used to anyway.
Yeah, he's still that real high level of style, technicality, and just he never bobbles anything.
Yeah, and if he does, he fixes it somehow and manages to stay upright.
I don't know how he does that.
Yeah, so there's so many times he looked like he was going to fall over onto his ass, and he just managed to turn fakey and hold onto it. So that was cool.
I was surprised about Mickey.
Yeah, Mickey skated real good.
He didn't have his trademark Mickey slams where he throws his body at something, hoping and praying that he's going to land it. Like he actually held his composure. He landed some cool shit.
Yeah. Tom skated real good, obviously. Like just Yeah, it's funny. Kind of when he was skating, I was like, "Who does he remind me of?" And I was like, "Oh, he reminds me of Hayden from Waipuck."
True. Why?
Yeah, I don't know quite know what it was. It might be like just his frame, like his stature, or just the way I guess the way he skates just reminded me of him a bit.
Shit, that's super interesting.
Yeah, and I had him really close to first, I think.
True.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel weird making comments because I'm a judge, but I won't say too much.
The game's been and gone, but he interestingly, when you watch him skate, like all his spin into grind tricks are normally switch spins. So he's I've always found that super impressive when you can spin both ways and do it really easily.
Yeah, I guess sometimes you do because that's the natural way you grind, but the wrong way.
Yeah, true. But if you're doing a 360 into a soul, you could kind of do it your natural way. So like he would turning true spin, so away from it, but he's turning to do it the harder way.
Yeah.
Well, it's arguably which one is harder, but
yeah, I'd never seen Dan skate before, but that was cool. I really like Dan skating.
So he interestingly he started skating in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So we were old men by that stage. So he's definitely a lot younger. And even Tom Schofield, I didn't realise how old he was. He's only 33. I thought he was closer to our age.
Yeah.
He's been around for so long.
Yeah. So yeah, in the end, I suppose Dan really did deserve to win. Like he had good tricks throughout the whole thing,
Well, did you? I went back and watched a broadcast again. Like he did 450 back rail on the A-frame ledge, 360 acid on the A-frame ledge, 360 true Mizu on the rail and on the ledge, a backside transfer drop Elliott top acid. Sounds like I've memorized his tricks, but I haven't. And then he did some wall ride shit to top acids and some over fishes and dark side fishes, and he kind of had tricks everywhere.
Yeah, and he didn't just skate across the course to do one trick, Like
he also did a fakie 7 off that Anzac ledge too.
Yeah.
Which is not easy to land on that soft floor and roll away fakie.
Yeah, it's sad. It's unfortunate. It's a trick off a box flat, but it was still rad.
Yeah, well, there was only one other rider I saw do a trick rolling across to flat, and that was a scooter rider who did a backflip and a 180 backflip to land fakie on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really surprised more people didn't try that gap to grind that Meat did. That gap off the platform to Royale on the down.
Yeah, I actually think probably lots of people, maybe some people can comment on this, but maybe after the event, they probably thought of lots of stuff they should have tried on the course in general.
Yeah.
Like I only mucked around and back for maybe half an hour or a little bit longer, and I spent the next day on the day after going, oh, I could have tried that or could have tried this, That's what I mean. Like it would have been
very strict. Where you going with those skates? Wear your helmet. Are you doing that too? Are you jumping on those banisters?